Welcome back to math for today. I just want to share a few things with you before we get started today. I am adding to your assignment for today a slideshow on how to set up alarms on your iPad. Please look through that and please set alarms on your iPad so that you will be on time for our Zoom meetings each week. If you set up one alarm for each class, and set it recurring just like I'm doing on the slideshow, all you have to do is set it up one time and it will make sure that it's going every week so that you are good to go every day for Zoom, okay? So that way you won't be late. So also make sure you're getting your assignments done. I should be grading and resubmitting assignments and giving you feedback today, tomorrow. So make sure you check those out for this week. And also, just make sure that you're checking PowerSchool to see if you have missing assignments. Check on Canvas to see if you have missing assignments as well. All right. So today is Thursday, 8/27, and we're going to talk about proportions today. So yesterday you worked on your scale drawings, IXL, and we're going to talk about that at the end. But today we're going to talk about proportions. So make sure you have a pencil and paper. And our learning target for today is I can determine if two ratios are proportional. And we're going to talk about what that means. So, which drink in this picture do you think tastes different? And how or why do you think it tastes different? Okay. So, I don't know what you guys think, but I see one that stands out above the rest, right? So this red glass, the 1 cup to 1.5 teaspoons, looks like it is the one that tastes different because it's darker. So this is all the measurements for each one. And it's just asking which of these is the stronger mixture. So you could say, well, I know it's the one with less water, but of those with less water, which one of those has more mix? And it's going to be this 1.5 teaspoons. So what we're going to do is we're going to explore these drink mixtures and we're going to talk about how they are related, okay? So we want to see if these mixtures are proportional or not. All right, we're going to see which one tastes the same and which ones taste different. So we're going to first use the scale factor method. We learned how to find the scale factor when we did scale copies. So let's see what we can do. To go from 1 to 1.5, I'm just going to multiply by that same amount, right? 1 times any number gives you that number, so 1.5. For the second one, I have 2 times something gives me 1.5. Well, I don't really know how to do that, but I can work backwards. I can use the inverse operation, and I can divide and say 1/2 divided by 2. If I do that, I'm going to use the keep, change, flip for dividing fractions. So I'm going to keep the first number, the numerator. I'm going to change division to multiplication. Then I'm going to take this 2 and I'm going to make it a fraction here. So it's 2 over 1 here. I'm going to make it into a fraction and flip it. Now it's 1/2. So it's 2 over 1. If I flip that fraction, remember you flip numerator and denominator, it becomes 1/2. Now I multiply straight across. 1 times 1, 1. 2 times 2, 4. So my scale factor is 1/4. And then the bottom one, I get 1 times something gives me 1/4. We know that 1 times any number is that number, so it's going to be 1 times 1/4. So if the drink mixtures will taste the same, we see that the one that has 2 cups and 1/2 a teaspoon of mix and the one that has 1 cup and 1/4 of a teaspoon are the same ratio, okay? So now we're going to talk about how to tell if the drinks will taste the same based on this thing called a ratio. And we're talking about equivalent ratios. You guys learned how to write ratios last year in math. So I'm going to compare cups to teaspoons, okay? So for the first cup, I've got 1 cup to 1 1/2 teaspoons. The second cup, I've got 2 cups to 1/2 of a teaspoon. The third is 1 cup to 1/4 of a teaspoon. So now we're going to compare these and see how to tell if they are equivalent. So what I've done is I've taken each set of ratios and I've set them equal to each other. And I'm going to show you 3 different ways to tell if they are equivalent. Okay, an equivalent, equi means equal. So equivalent means are they equal to each other? Okay, so the first one, 1 over 1/4 is equal to 1 to 1 1/2. Before we do anything else, let's do this. Let's make this mixed number into an improper fraction. So I'm going to say 1/2, and I'm going to mark it out, and I'm going to make that 3 halves. 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3, and your denominator is 2. I'm going to change this one as well. Okay, so the first method is going to be, I think Miss Batchelor told me that a lot of you learned it as the butterfly method, something like that. So we're going to cross multiply. All right, so 1/4 times 1. 1/4 times, we're going to multiply by 1. Any number times 1 is that number, right? So I get 1/4 as my answer going up. Now I'm going to cross multiply the other side. 1 times 3 halves. 1 times 3 halves, and I get 3 halves. 1 times that number is that number. Now, if these two fractions or these two ratios were equivalent, the number that we get as our product would be the same. Are they the same here? No. So these are not equivalent. So cross multiplying is one way that we could do that. Another way that we can do this is we can do similarly to what we just did, is find that scale factor going from one ratio to the next, figuring out what it changes by. So this would be scale factor method. So 1 times something gives me 2. Well, 1 times 2 gives me 2. Let me write it in red. And then 1/4 times something gives me 1/2. Well, let's try times 2, and then I'll show you the fraction bar. So times 2, let's see. Times 2, I get 2 over 4, which equals 1/2. Okay, so that's, no, that's not, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I don't know why that was confusing me. Sorry, guys. So I multiplied by 2 here, all right? Now let's look at the fraction bar. So if I have this whole and I cut it into fourths, so each of these is 1/4. And I have 1/4 and I multiply it by 2. So I've got 1/4 here and 1/4 here. What does that give me out of that whole? It gives me half. So that's where you get the 1/2. I know fractions are difficult sometimes. So there's cross multiplying. You can do scale factor method, and if they have the same scale factor, that would mean that they are proportional. So these are proportional or equivalent. And then this method, you can find the unit rate, or you can simplify. So we're going to find the unit rate here. Now, remember from 6th grade, unit rate is the amount for 1, right? So this is the amount for 1 cup. So I already have the unit rate for this fraction, or this ratio. For this ratio, I need to make it the unit rate. So I'm going to divide by 2 so that my numerator is 1. So I'm going to divide the bottom by 2. Now I can divide fractions by doing the keep change, flip. So I'm going to keep the first fraction, change division to multiplying, and then take the second one, which 2 over 1 would be the 2. So I'm going to flip it just like we did before and make it 1/2. Now I multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, and I get 1/4 here. Let me show you the fraction bar for that. Okay, so if I have a fraction 1/2, all right, so this is my fraction 1/2, I'm going to divide that by 2. I'm going to cut it in half again. So I'm going to take my little scissors here and I'm going to cut it. Now I've got 2 parts to this, but how many of this one section are there to create my whole? Well, there's 1, 2. If I were to make another one, that would be 3, 4. So that would be 1 part out of 4. So that would be 1/4. Hopefully that helps you with that fraction part. Okay, so we found the unit rate here. 1 over 1/4. And then I have this other fraction, 1 over 3/2. Are these two fractions equivalent? No. Okay, so there's 3 methods. We can do cross multiplying, and if our product is the same, then it would be equivalent. We can use the scale factor method. So I'm going to say 1 over 2 is equal to 2 over 4. If my scale factor is the same number, then they are equivalent. And the last one would be finding the unit rate, or simplifying those fractions. So I know that 2/4 is equal to 1/2, and these two fractions are equivalent, so therefore they are equal ratios or equivalent ratios. All right? So what you're going to do today for your practice, I'm going to post this assignment, or this one your turn, and I want you to tell me which of these recipes, or which 2 recipes are going to taste the same and which are going to taste different by comparing those ratios. Okay? Go back and watch the video if you need to, and then you're going to do this one problem. You do not have to turn this one in today. We're going to talk about it first thing tomorrow in class, so you do need to write your answer down. Now, last thing, today's assignment, you're just going to finish working on that IXL skill J9. Remember, you only have to get it to 80%, and make sure you set up that table like I did here. So if this was the exam or the problem, this was the scale with the question mark, it told me what the dimensions were. Set up this table just like I did. And I put examples right from IXL in the Wednesday video. So watch those examples and write the steps down and then try to do those. All right?